Right then, hello everyone and welcome to episode 88 of our Football Manager Blackburn Rovers 2017 save thingamajig. So, the game we've all been waiting for, certainly the game that I've been waiting for, Spurs at home. Now we beat them away earlier on in the season. Piaka scored in the first minute of the game. I believe it was a live com as well, if you remember. Joachim Löw is their manager. And what a phenomenal team they have. Harry Kane, though, looks like he's injured. He's got a broken ankle, so that's definitely advantageous for us. We'll have to wait and see how that develops. They're currently sat in 10th place in the Premier League, which is quite underwhelming for Tottenham. I'd pretend to be surprised that Chelsea are in 11th, but to be fair, Chelsea have been so poor since the start of this entire series that, let's be honest, we're not really surprised. So, we're going to go into this game feeling pretty damn confident, I think. A win would be really, really good for us against a strong team like Spurs. So, without further ado, let's head to Ewood Park, where it looks like it's unfortunately raining, which isn't really surprising for February in Blackburn, so I don't know why. Yeah, it's raining. Let's go to Ewood Park. Okie dokie then, so here we go. No surprises in the Spurs starting 11, other than Wimmer playing left back, which wasn't really something I was anticipating, but he is more than capable of playing left back pretty damn well. He's pretty pacey, he can use both feet. I don't really think he's something specific to exploit, you know, like when you normally see a centre-back playing out of position as full-back. Bruno Fernandes is kind of playing as a bit of a playmaker for them, so we're definitely going to be going in hard on the Italian. And Lamela isn't as pacey as he used to be, so that's something that we are going to be keeping an eye on. I feel like the pace of Balde Keita and, of course, Lacazette up front is what's mainly going to cause us problems, but if we can stop the service from midfield being played through our defence, where they'll look to utilise their pace, then we should be okay. And most of their attacks are going to be coming through Christian Eriksen, as always, in that advanced playmaker position. And Douglas is going to be trying to keep wraps on that. We're at home. We're playing with inverted wing-backs, especially against a team like Spurs. We don't want to be too expansive, so they should be able to deal with these guys pretty well. Lacazette and the wings being pretty pacey leaves us on our normal defensive line, unlike some home games where we've actually played with wing-backs on attacking and a much higher defensive line, try and constrict the space in midfield. Other than that, we're keeping everything the same. We're sticking to shorter passing, because the back four, especially of this Spurs team, are quite good in the air. I think you'll agree, having players like Eric Dyer and Alderweireld and Wimmer, 3 out of 4 defenders being very good in the air. And of course, we'll slowly but surely build things up as we always do, and tweak where we see weaknesses. No surprises. I did warn you guys it was going to be wet, so hopefully you did bring your coats. I don't think we actually discussed our starting lineup. That's a bit of a dreadful start. Barbosa, straight from the kickoff, dribbling the ball out to the touchline. Football Manager, ladies and gentlemen. So, as far as we're concerned, we go with Kunz on the right-hand side and Barbosa on the left. Now, you're probably normally used to seeing someone like Andre or Piaka through the middle, or Piaka on the left, and Nyang on the right, and Nano down the middle. Now, to be honest, I've been picking my starting 11s recently simply based on form. Piaka's not been scoring, meanwhile Barbosa has. We know he has the quality to, so you might as well start. Kunz as well has been incredibly impressive recently, despite him being very young. Do sometimes have issues with him tracking back defensively, but he'll learn, and the only way for me he'll learn is by getting more game time under his belt. Nyang plays through the middle, who is our top goal scorer, of course, this season. Very, very close to actually breaking our number of Man of the Match awards in one season award record thing. Alenya and Rog partner each other in midfield. Douglas is defensive midfielder, and Varela actually comes in as a main surprise in defence instead of Varjek, simply because I just find that Varela's experience, yes, he's 28, but from a pace perspective, he's still very, very good. Maybe not the ideal of the two wing-backs to deal with Balde Keita, especially this early on in the game, but I feel like as the game kind of goes on, Balde Keita will tire, and it'll be a good point to get Varjek running on, because he'll be able to kind of like get forward a little bit more, whilst Keita won't be able to track back that much, which is why kind of Varela starts a little bit more defensively as an IWB. I'd be happy going in at this current moment in time, 0-0 at half-time, to be fully honest. But let's see what happens. So, not the start of the game that we wanted. We do, of course, do our cut-off of... Talking about not the start of the game that we wanted, it seems like Mbai Nyang has got a bit of a dead leg. So Nyang is going to pick the ball up. It looks all right to me. Alenya finds Barbosa, who's going to take the ball past Daniel Guedes in left back, and he might be injured, but he can still smash him in. And Mbai Nyang, 12 minutes in, Barbosa gets the assist, and Blackburn Rovers early on take the lead at Ewood Park against Joachim Löw's Tottenham Hotspur side. Nothing, absolutely nothing, really, that Hugo Lloris could have really done from there. So we'll go defensive just for a few minutes, just to, you know, keep our heads in the game. You can't really rule out this Spurs side. Nyang has to come off. And so, Venkis, if you're watching, this is why, even though, you know, FFP and all that, this is why you still give us money in the transfer window. And this is also why Premier League people out there, why that particular FFP rule, for me at least, makes no sense. So now it's a bit of a difficult decision. Does Piaka come on? Does Nyang come on? Does Gray come on? Does Nano come on? I think at this current moment in time, it kind of feels right to put Piaka on. That's what my gut feeling's telling me. And he scored against Spurs in the first tie between us and them in the first half of the season. So Piaka's going to come on, see if he can kind of like rekindle that form. 39 minutes to go. That half has basically just whizzed past, and we've not really seen much. Barbosa's going to actually try and chase that ball down. Alderweireld picks it up, though. Direct ball forward to Eriksson. Really good head from Thomas Callas, who I must say has been a beast for us at the back. Marco Rog needs to score, but we know much about Marco Rog's finishing. If I can find some kind of regen, who could be Morales, you know, in the future, who could make them same forward runs as Rog can, who has the pace that Rog has, to make them late runs forward that don't get picked up by opposition midfields and defences, but actually finish when he gets into the box, then we're basically going to have a 10-15 goal a season central midfielder on us. Kind of similar to some of the late runs that Adlen Kadura used to make. Blimey, it seems like ages ago we had Kadura as our main box-to-box midfielder. But yeah, we'll calmly tell the lads I'm not really too happy with what I've seen so far. Douglas looks nervous, demotivated, mainly because he wants to leave. And we know what the issue with Douglas is. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, it's if you want to leave, you want a new contract. Well, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, he wanted a new contract. I gave him a new contract. The game glitched out, and he still wants a new contract. And there's no way I can give him more than 115k a week. So now he wants to leave the team. The problem is, no one wants to pay a realistic amount for him. So he's stuck in the team, and he's our best deep-line playmaker. So he stays in the team. But I said I wanted to see how Morales would really do in this role, which is kind of the role that he plays for us normally. Marco's not had the best first half of his career. Sorry, I just realised that we didn't actually have that enabled. So, the full screen thing enabled, obviously. So, yeah, let's see if we can come out all guns a-blazing nice and early and grab a 2-0 lead. Morales trying a bit of a cheeky back heel. Not really what I wanted to see from him so early on. But Piaka picks the ball up on the left-hand side, finds Carlos Alenya. And the commentator says that was an absolute sitter. For someone, you know, with the technical ability that Carlos Alenya has, he's got to be hitting the target from there. Got to be hitting the target. Varela scores from a corner. Was not expecting to see him score. And that's probably his way of saying, look, you've not registered me for the Champions League this season. And it's true, I've not been able to register him for the Champions League this season. Real good head from Volkvist to, you know, put it down for Varela. Unmarked on the edge of the box. And before you know it, bada bing, bada boom is what we like to say. And we have a 2-0 lead against Spurs. So, 60 minutes in, it looks like we could very well make our last sub of the game. Now, it is actually going to be Matthias Kunz who's going to come off. And I feel like Nano is the right player to come on in this kind of scenario. Simply because we're at home. We've got a 2-0 lead. And obviously, it means that I'm going to kind of change my instructions around a tiny little bit. just to slow things down and help us hold on to the ball a little bit better. And for me, Nano is really good when it comes to dropping deep in that shadow striker role and kind of becoming an extra midfielder, helping us play 1-2 passes, which then allows a slightly pacier forwards like Barbosa and Piaka to his right and left, and the central midfielders to really start making runs forward. Got to keep an eye out, though, for any substitutions that Spurs themselves make. As we can see, Insigne's made his way onto the pitch. Kevin Wimmer, a Spurs goal, completely changes everything now, and Barbosa's going to get sent off. Well, yep. And that was not the red card that we needed, and Spurs definitely have a player or two who knows how to take a free kick. So the question at hand now is how do we change this? Okay, so I think we're going to be forced to really go into a bit of a flat four in midfield now, simply because in the 4-2-3-1, a lot of Spurs attacks are going to be coming down the wings. So Piaka, for me, is going to drop to the left. I do still want to keep one striker. It's really more of a case of who's going to be the guy that kind of goes out on the right-hand side. It kind of feels like it should be Piaka because Alenya's left-footed. So it makes more sense, really, for him to be that kind of left-footed player. Going to do that and turn Nano into a deep-lying forward on support. That should be fine, really. We're going to slightly reduce our closing down, which will help us drop a little bit deeper. But hopefully, I think we'll be okay, to be honest. So we'll wait until the 75th minute or so. There we go. And we'll actually now drop to defensive. 10 minutes to go. All we have to do is just hold on to this ball, really. Just keep it nice, short, slow and steady wins a race, as they say. And just hold on to the ball and frustrate Spurs. They're the ones that really need to get 2 goals back. Piaka could spot this potential run of Nano. He does. And this is what I mean. Nano coming deep, holding onto the ball real well. This is really good football from us. We're not focusing too much in the wide areas, but we don't really need to. And when we focus to play in the middle of the park, these guys ain't going to track back. It still makes room for us, for some of our players to exploit that space if they want to as well, which is what they'd be doing if we were on a slightly more kind of positive-minded mentality. Lacazette is going to lose out, but it does seem like something could be on the cards here. Wimmer is going to pick the ball up, but good head from Piaka. Alderweireld chases the ball down, and it's still, surprisingly, quite patient play coming out from Spurs. Insigne is looking to link up with Lacazette. And that's not the first time Szczesny lets me down in this second half of the season. 3 minutes, not 3 minutes to go, 7 minutes or so to go. Can't really fault the defence there, to be honest. It was a good strike, but Szczesny should be saving those. Szczesny really should be saving those. So it's probably time to park the bus, to say the least. I'm going to actually time to close down a little bit more just to up the intensity a little bit, increase our width a little bit as well. Time to stick to positions. Yeah, try and make things a little bit less complicated in that regards. And again, I stand by the fact that we should be fine. I think it says it all, really, that we've had 3 clear-cut chances versus Spurs' 0, and that has been one of our issues. And again, I always reiterate this season in, season out, that one of our main issues when it comes to taking clear-cut chances is the fact that we don't spend money like certain rivals do. And sometimes, as we see, for example, with Marco Rog, Jesus Christ, that was a bad tackle. I'm not liking the look of this. Oh, that was close. That was close, but we get the win in the end. But yeah, I just feel like sometimes when you look at players like Thomas Callas, Volkvist, on paper, Nano, Andre Gray, they're very good players for the roles in which we play them in, and that's what I'm like as a manager. I get the best out of players by playing them in roles where I know they're going to be comfortable, or they're trained, or their attributes say they'd be comfortable in, because I know what I'm looking from a certain player within a certain system. So when you kind of get it all right and it all comes together, they'll play well. But when you compare the amount of money that Man United spend, for example, and you compare the amount of money that other teams around us spend, and the sheer ability that the players they sign have in comparison to ours, it's that extra oomph that the Man Uniteds have, where they can actually dish out 40, 50 million for a Morata or something like that, that ends up making the difference. But anyway, so well done, lads. That was a good win for us. I wonder whether or not Man United have played. Obviously, it says that we're now top of the league. Barbosa, of course, has been sent off. We don't actually know yet about Man United. We are fortunate that Nyang is only out for 1 or 2 days, which is good. Barbosa is, of course, going to be warned for getting that red card. And as far as Man United are concerned, their next game is actually going to be against Swansea later on today. So I'm going to quickly do this press conference and then we'll go see what their result ends up being. So, there we go. Man City lose 2-1 to Aston Villa. Chelsea draw 2-2 to Everton. Liverpool win 4-2, who could easily make a bit of a late surge in for kind of third place, where Arsenal are currently lying at the moment. But with 9 points between us, as in us like Man United and Blackburn and Arsenal, I'm pretty sure the title race is between us two at the moment in time. And to be fair, it could end up, the winner of the league could end up being whoever gets knocked out of the Champions League first. We are still fighting on every single front this season, which in a way kind of still means we have a chance of winning everything this season. It's not going to happen, but it's nice to dream. But the result we didn't want was Man United smashing Swansea 3-0. And when I was having a rant earlier about Man United just being able to have that extra bit of quality that we lack, which sometimes comes in a slightly better finishing attribute, which gets you 4 or 5 more goals out of a player a season. Miroslav Grabovac is a player they signed from Juventus for £18.75 million. Again, we have the money to spend on a player like this, but we can't because of FFP, because previous seasons we haven't had this amount of money to spend. And when they can sign players like that, who guarantees you Premier League goals for only 55k a week, is only 20 years old, you got to think forward thinking as well for the future. This guy's going to be haunting me for seasons to come. I just think that's where Man United have had that slight advantage. And I hate to say it, but it also feels like the Premier League have been helping them out with that advantage. But that is going to be it for this episode. Everton are next, but of course the next episode will be our away game in the Champions League against Pep Guardiola's Benfica. Now, they've pretty much been storming the Portuguese league. They are top of the Portuguese league at the moment. I'm thinking of maybe going for a cheeky João Dionísio in goal. You know, Portuguese player, ex-Braga player, very familiar with that league as well. We've been playing him in the Champions League a fair bit. I'm kind of contemplating whether to loan him out next season, simply because I'm not sure whether for a player of his age at 21, does he need first team football? Or is he okay, you know, playing Champions League and Cup games for us to really develop? I'm not too sure. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, because normally, even though I've played this game for a very long time, I normally don't invest in young goalkeepers, because for me, goalkeepers become at their best past the age of about 26 once they've matured. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for me. I don't know whether to kind of bring in a more experienced goalkeeper and loan him out next season. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what's worked best for you guys in the past. But until next time, we still sit second in the Premier League, but that could easily change in the next few episodes. And of course, with the title race hotting up, you want to hit that like button. You want to hit the subscribe button, because you want a notification every time a new episode comes up. But as always, thanks for watching.